Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I am Anita Winters and what do? I create intuitive art. That's what I do. It's been a little while since my last video, and that is because life decided to throw at me a few unexpected challenges. Well, I was dealing with health issues which made creating extremely hard, both physically and mentally. But art has its way of pulling me back, and I'm finally here, and I'm hoping for a smoother ride ahead. This particular piece was a battle from start to finish, and I struggled with it more than usual, and I think it reflects all the chaos I was going through. Nothing seemed to come together, and I found myself constantly covering parts with a black marker layer by layer, trying to find something that seems right. I recently watched some videos from Artsy Erin. The link to her channel is in the description, and she made such a valid point about process videos, that so much of hard work is being cut out or sped up, and it makes it look effortless. But the reality, it's not always smooth. In fact, it's messy, it's frustrating, and it's full of unexpected turns. That's why I thought this video, I'm not gonna cut out the rough moments. Well, not all of it, otherwise we'll be here forever. But you'll see lots of mistakes, indecision, all the bumps, and that's what made this piece what it is. And I hope you find inspiration in the journey and imperfections and all. And that's what I want to talk about today. Being brave enough to create even when you don't know where it's going. I know a lot of people want to make art, but something holds them back. Maybe they don't think they're good enough. Maybe they're afraid of making mistakes, or maybe they just don't want to spend years of studying techniques and theory. They just want to paint, to express, to create. Are you one of them? Then if yes, keep watching, because this is completely valid. Art doesn't need rules. It doesn't need a perfect blueprint. For many people, art isn't about mastering perfect proportions or understanding complex color theory. It's about something deeper. It's about self-expression, about creating something that feels like you. Some people paint because it's therapeutic. It helps them relax. It allows them to step away from the noise of everyday life and just be in the moment. Others, and that would be me, just feel the urge to create, not to impress anyone, not to follow traditional methods, but simply because making something from nothing is a deeply human experience. And yet, even when we create for ourselves, it is so tempting to want a clear vision of the finished piece before we even start. We want to know exactly how it's going to turn out so we don't mess it up. But the truth is, you never really know what the future holds on the canvas or in life. And maybe that's the point. Because at some point in life, you realize you are no longer chasing the future. You are standing in it. And so many of us live in a state of when I get that job, when I achieve that goal, when I finally become the person I'm supposed to be. But then one day you wake up and you realize this is it. You are already here. Your life isn't something waiting for you in the distance. It's happening right now. Joseph Campbell once said, midlife is when you reach the top of the ladder and find it was against the wrong wall. And that realization can be overwhelming. It's what people call midlife crisis, but It's not a crisis at all. It's an awakening. It's the moment you start questioning everything you were taught about what success should look like, what happiness should be, what life is supposed to mean. And for the first time, you see the meaning of life isn't something given to you, it's something you choose. Maybe that's why intuitive art is such a powerful practice, because in many ways it mirrors this journey. Every time you sit in front of a blank page, you have a choice. There is no roadmap, no guarantees, no perfect plan. There is only the present moment, the brush or a pen in your hand, the colors in front of you, and the quiet pull of intuition that says, just begin. The real joy of intuitive art is in the unfolding, in watching something emerge that you couldn't have predicted, embracing that uncertainty and trusting yourself enough to take the next step, even when you don't know where it's leading. And your intuition, it isn't loud. It doesn't push or demand. It whispers, it nudges. It doesn't always make sense, but that's okay. It doesn't need to. It won't force you to listen, but when you do, it leads you somewhere real. It's not about logic, it's not about perfection. It's about flow, about following the small nudges that tell you to add a brushstroke here, to change a color there, to let a piece evolve on its own terms instead of forcing it into a mold. Of course, that's easier said than done. We've been conditioned to think that art has to look a certain way to be good, that it has to be clean, structured, precise, but there's the truth. There are no mistakes in the creative process. The creative process, just like life, isn't about avoiding mistakes, because there are no mistakes. Every single thing that happens along the way, every brushstroke, every color choice, every emotion that arises up when you paint, every time you feel lost, every time you make an instinctive choice that surprises you, it all belongs. And that journey is what makes final piece unique. So every time you think you've ruined a piece, or you hesitate, or make a bold choice that scares you a little, it's all part of the final creation. Even when it feels like you are getting it wrong, you are actually getting somewhere. And letting go of perfection, that's hard. And often our idea of what perfect looks like doesn't even come from us. It comes from the world around us, our parents, our teachers, the media, the way art is taught at school. Somewhere along the way, we absorb all this idea that good art has to look a certain way. It has to be clean and precise and controlled. But does it? What if we let go of that? What if we loosened our grip on what we think perfection should be and opened ourselves up to new possibilities? What if instead of aiming for perfection, we aimed for honesty, for joy? What if instead of trying to control the outcome, we trusted the process? Because at the end of the day, your art doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. That's what painting and creating really is. It's a space for self-reflection, a time to slow down, to practice patience, not just with art, but with ourselves. It's a chance to reconnect, to heal, to sit with our emotions instead of rushing past them. Painting and drawing and doodling and just creating in general is so much more than making something pretty. It teaches us to be present, to be resilient, how to keep going when something isn't working, and how to adapt, how to trust that even the unexpected turns are leading you somewhere important. It's a way to release your emotions, that have no words. Sit with yourself in silence and notice what arises to the surface. And in that process, something beautiful happens. You start to see that just like in art, life isn't about getting everything right. It's about showing up, about being open and allowing yourself to evolve, to shift, and to change the direction whenever it's needed. So as we're going through this painting together, I am inviting you, next time you create, let go of expectations of what your art should look like, of what you should be doing. Try to let your intuition lead. Even if it's quiet, even if it feels uncertain, give yourself permission to make a mess, to take risks, to trust that whatever happens on the paper is exactly what's meant to happen, and let yourself be surprised.